we're going to talk about the quadratic functions. Quadratic functions typically look like this: ax squared plus bx plus c. And there's a lot of things that you can do with quadratic equations and quadratic functions. Right now we're going to focus on how to get them on a graph, and that's where our focus is going to be. So, if we have a quadratic function that looks like this. This still has a and b in here, but a and b in this case both happen to be 1. That's okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to use our magical numbers to graph this. We have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. In order to solve this, we're just going to plug in our numbers for x to find y. So we're going to start off with -2. And all I'm doing right now is I'm replacing x with the value -2. And now I'm going to solve. First thing in PEMDAS is I solve the exponents. -2 to the second power. And because the negative sign is inside the parentheses, because I'm putting -2 in for x, it's going to be -2 times -2, which is going to be 4 plus -2 minus 2. Now all I have to do here is I have to do the addition. 4 plus -2 is going to be 2. 2 minus 2 is 0, so y in this case is going to be 0. I'm going to do the whole thing over again, except now x is going to equal 1. -1, excuse me. When x is -1, -1 to the second power, -1 times -1 is going to be 1 plus -1 minus 2. 1 plus -1 is going to be the same thing as 0. 0 minus 2 is -2, so my y value is going to be -2. My next number is going to be 0. Instead of x, I'm going to put 0 in. And I could definitely put it in parentheses, but because there's no subtraction sign, I don't really feel the need to put it in parentheses because there's nothing else that really will stand out by doing that. So what I'm going to do is we're going to solve. 0 to the second power is still going to be 0. So we have 0 plus 0 minus 2. 0 plus 0 is 0. So we just have -2. I'm going to do that all over again with 1. 1 to the second power is still 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. So I'm going to put in 0 for that number. For the last one, I'm just going to put in 2 for the x value. 2 squared plus 2 minus 2. 2 squared, 2 plus 2 is 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 here, plus 2 minus 2. 4 plus 2 is going to be 6. 6 minus 2 is going to be back to 4. Now comes the interesting part. Now, before we erase our entire equation, we are going to graph this. So let's see what happens when we put this into a graph format. Because my biggest number is 4, I'm just going to go out to the 4s. So I'll have -1, -2, -3, -4, -1, -2, -3, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to graph my first point, which is -2, 0, -2, 0. Then I'm going to graph -1, -2, My next point is 0, -2. Then it's 1, 0, so run 1, jump none. And then it's 2, 4. Run 2, jump 4. Now this graph is starting to look awfully interesting because I don't have anywhere close to a line. What I'm getting is called a parabola. And a parabola is roughly a U-shaped figure that is going to show basically a curve that will end up with the line going in the same direction. In this case, both up. Are they going in the same direction where they're going to intersect again? No, they're going in opposite directions to the right and to the left, but they're both going up. Both ends of the line are going up, and this is called a parabola. This down here, the bottom of the parabola, or the top, is called the focus. Let's take a look at one more equation. And we're going to take a look at f of x equals x squared plus 1. And you might be wondering, as I'm writing down the 5 magical numbers, you might be wondering where is b times x? Well, in this case, b is 0, and 0 times x is going to be 0, so we just didn't put it in there. Let's take a look at what's going to happen here. F of x, what happens when x is 2? When x is -2, we have -2 squared plus 1. -2 to the second power is going to be -2 times -2, which is going to be 4. 4 plus 1 is going to be 5. Let's do it again. When f is -1, we have -1 to the second power plus 1. -1 to the second power is just going to be 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Let's do it again. When f is 0, we have 0 to the second power plus 1. 0 times 0 is still 0, so 0 plus 1 is just going to be 1. When f is 1, I have 1 to the second power plus 1. 1 times 1 is the same thing as 1, so my answer is 2. For the last one, we're going to put f as 2. 2 to the second power is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5, which means that I can see the parabola just in looking over here because I have two values that are the same in the y column. I have a 5 and a 5, a 2 and a 2. If I were to put -3, +3 in for the x's, I would actually get the same value because the parabola is going to swing back up again to reach the same value. So let's go ahead and graph this. My biggest number here is going to be 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to 6, and I'm going to graph this using even numbers. Okay, so I have -2, 5. I'm going to run -2. I'm going to jump up 5. My next point is -1, 2. I'm going to run back 1, jump up 2. My next point is going to be 0, 1. And then after that is 1, 2. And then we go to 2, 5. As you can see, this one's a little bit of a skinnier parabola, but it will also look like this. You will sometimes see parabolas that are going to be this direction. Those are also okay. Just not the correct answer for the problem that we were just looking at.